All right, we're live. I got Coach James with the Iron Forge today, massive brotherhood with Josh Holyfield. And for those of you that don't know, he's actually my life coach as well. And James and I have got a little history together. I found James from a mutual friend, and at that point in time, I wasn't really doing that great. And today we're going to talk a lot of things, and some of the messaging and the empowerment and the words I put out in the world today. A lot of that, comes from a lot of the work James and I have done, and learning about the foundation of, you can't build a house on a shit foundation, and we've really put a lot of work into that. And today we want to talk about how important all those things are: mental health and business. Obviously, we got Memorial Day coming up. Obviously that's a massive impact on our armed forces and whatnot, and we certainly want to dig into that. James being a veteran himself, so we got a lot to unpack today. I'm pretty excited about today, maybe borderline emotional, but looking forward to this. It's been a long time coming, so I'm looking forward to it. So Coach James, man, I appreciate you being on today, taking some time on your busy schedule. I know you guys are getting cranked up down there, just making boys and men, excuse me. And yeah, man, let's dig in. Let's dig in here.
All right. Hey, once again, it's always my honor and pleasure, on behalf of myself and Josh Holyfield from the Iron Forge Brotherhood, to be able to come in and share some of the things that we coach and teach. Also, the fact that, as we get on this call, you and I are going to kind of divulge and discuss some of the things that we worked on coming out of that dark spot in your life.
Yep.
Kind of coming out of that dark spot, in my life, transitioning, from being medically retired from the Army to kind of figuring out who I was as a human being and as a man in my place in the world. So like you said, it may get emotional, but one thing that we really got to talk about with mindset is it's not about being vulnerable, right? Because that's synonymous with weakness.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I can tell you right now is we're going to drill 3 points for mental health: integrity, ownership, and getting rid of victimization.
Right.
And those are 3 things that you and I, and even, Miss Smith and I have worked extensively on to clean up. And once we get that, you use the house reference, and it's fitting because we're talking real estate and business, but there's no structure that has, structural integrity without a great foundation.
Right.
And this is the foundation, is the mindset. You can have all the biceps, you can have all the money, you can have all the materials, but if your mind is not in a good place, a foundational concrete place, you're going to be miserable every day.
Yep. For sure. Definitely. So yeah. Did we get a third one? Did I interrupt you? Did we get the third one?
No, that was it. Integrity, ownership, and getting rid of victimization.
So I want to put you on the spot today. So, and give you permission to unpack your experience coaching Jason Smith. And I want your perspective on the journey that we've had and where we're at today, and to maybe unpack from your perspective what that's looked like in your eyes, and in hopes of, giving some inspiration to our viewers today.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you're putting me on the spot or you're putting yourself on the spot.
Well, I think we're both doing that, but
you and I think we were introduced to each other, well over a year ago through our mutual friend, Mike Novak. Him and I had worked together for quite a bit of time, and, he introduced us. And one thing I noticed right out the gate was that it was the facade, the mask. Right. It's no secret. You're 6'7", 250 pounds. You're a big dude. You take up a lot of space. You look great on a billboard. And if you pull the slides and metrics, number-wise, you're hugely successful in real estate. Right. But all that, when it came to mindset, was a fraud. It was a mask that you had put on to cover what was going on. And on our first call, I told you, I said, hey, man, you got to get rid of the ego. There is no ego in this world. You can have pride. Absolutely. Please take pride in everything you do. but there's no ego. There's no room for it. You can't say, "Hey, world, look at me. Look how great I am," and then you're suffering in silence. And to kind of go forward, within I think about 3 weeks of us coaching together, you had put the post up about where you were sitting a couple months before that on the verge of suicide, riding around in your car by yourself, avoiding going home, avoiding conflict, conversations, stripping your emotion from the people that needed it the most for you and from you. And, that was kind of the piece. And, for the people that don't personally know you yet, or the ones that are just now being exposed to you, it was a very, very bad spot. We're talking life or death. And I would challenge you and encourage you to put that post back up in this group, so the people that come in and are just now meeting you and kind of the backstory, they can see it as well. So they understand, what we're talking about.
Yeah, just guys, just to reference that post, the memory went up. It was May 13th. So any of you guys are on my personal page, I will post it on here. But so basically, that was the anniversary of the post of admitting that, I was driving around wondering how to make it home, basically. So, and anyways, go ahead.
So that was kind of the starting point. Okay, hey, this man mentally is broken. Right? Physically, you had all the attributes. You're big, you worked out hard, you look great in a cutoff shirt, money, materials, you have an amazing wife and beautiful kids. Like, everything was there on paper. It was every man's dream. But in reality, as soon as you actually open the book, and you didn't even have to read chapter 1, you could read the preface. You could see it clear as day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing was taking the ownership piece. Like, hey, everything that's happened in my life is my fault. That was kind of the first piece, right? Is, hey, everything that happened to Jason Smith is because Jason Smith either chose an action, which led to positive or negative result, or he chose inaction, and then he became part of the result without having any influence on the direction of it. And then if we look at the next part, right, a lot of what was going on that Jason Smith was doing was victimization. Oh, well, I didn't do good because of this person. I didn't do good because of the environment. I didn't do good because my wife's upset. I didn't do good because taxes, whatever it is. It was, you were a victim to everything except for the ownership piece of your failed action or inaction.
Someone else's fault.
It's always someone else's fault. Like, if we look right now, right, to blend this, because this is about mindset and business.
Yeah, for sure.
If you talk to majority of real estate agents in the area right now, it's a harsh environment, a harsh market.
Sure.
It's tough out there for everyone.
Right.
But there are people that are succeeding. There's actually people that are doing better this year than they did last year and the year before.
For sure.
It's the same. It's the same across the board, right? Like, it's not easier in like this place versus that place. The difference is the ones that are successful understand that the market is hard, but they understand that they just have to work harder. The ones that are failing are the ones that are taking a back seat and blaming it on the market.
Yeah, for sure. And, it goes back to like what I'd said there a few weeks ago about you don't deserve anything. It's like, what? And hey, I deserve to be happy. Hey, I deserve to be successful. Hey, I deserve to have money. Hey, I deserve to have a beautiful wife. I deserve to have well-behaved kids. No, you don't fucking deserve nothing. You deserve the input you put in every day, right? You want to have a good relationship and a good marriage, pour into it, right? It's an infinite game. You want to make money, then obviously you need to be pulling those levers every day. You want to work out, you better go to the gym every day. You want to be healthy, then your diet needs to be in line. It can't be when you want to or when it's convenient for you. It's something that over time. So like for me, an example, really it was like a decade of things, the compound effect of not being disciplined of those things and eventually caught up. Right. So for me, that was how it was for me. We moved to Florida and all that shit just unpacked. Right. And like, fuck. And realize I don't have a foundation. My foundation doesn't exist. I can't, what am I going to do? I have nothing. And I had to start over. Right. And if you remember, my goal was if I could get to the gym and breakfast every morning after a certain period of time, that was a completed day for me. And that was it. I had to go back and make me a priority, my health and mental health, physically and mentally, and build from there, like literally strip it down. And obviously we've had many coaching calls in the past of stripping an ego down. And, you know, some of my posts were admissions of things, whether it was failed marriages or being a shit dad or husband or whatever, or businessman or whatever it may be. And I had to take ownership and be accountable to all those things. And, you know, that's something for my side of the fence, being a coach now, like there's a lot of lack of self-awareness, and I was self-aware, but I wouldn't admit it. Right. I think we can grab that. There's things that I knew, but the facade hid that shit. Like I can't be on a billboard on the radio and admit these things, that I'm shitty at these things. Right. And, you know, it took pretty bad, dark place to, you know, take responsibility for that stuff.
Absolutely right. Let's go back to what you just said. So you did the I think it was a TikTok and a post about deserving, right? Being deserving of things. I had done a showed wall a little bit right before that, and I talked about that. There's no such thing as deserving, right? When you put it in that category, people say, I deserve this. That's a one-way road to depression.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to come up with negative things. Well, I deserve more money. Okay, cool. You deserve more money, but yet you only make so much an hour and you only get so many hours a week. You're not going to make that money, but I deserve more. Well, what you deserve, right, if deserving was a real thing, is you deserve to take your ass back to school or go get a certification, get an education, become certified and qualified for a better paying job.
Right.
If we want to talk about deserving, but people don't want to have that conversation. They want to use deserving as a method of validating their failures, lack of effort, and laziness.
Right.
But if you look at deserving, right, how many amazing people? There we go. What's up, big fella? Good to see you again.
Got Everest in there. You want to be on camera?
What's up, big guy?
You're gonna interrupt me. You're gonna be on camera now. Hey, do me a favor and go upstairs, okay? I'll make that popcorn. We're done. Yep. Keep on.
On the next call, you got to bring my BFF Scarlett down there.
Yeah, right, for sure. She's with Mama right now. Yep.
That's my bestie. All right. So with that being said, right, if you look at it, how many good people do we see get struck with an illness, a fatal illness? Did they deserve that?
Right.
They didn't deserve it. But yet you don't want to say that. Oh, they didn't deserve that, but I deserve this. Here's the thing. Deserving isn't a real thing. You get out what you put in.
Yeah.
If you're not getting the result you want, you're not working hard enough. You're not doing the right things. Your processes and procedures don't work.
Right. You know, and I hate to say it, I'm just going to, you know, obviously there's certainly some casualties that are, you know, a heart attack or whatever. There's certain things that are very unexpected. Someone gets cancer, you know what I mean? Like some people that are very healthy and it happens. However, there's people that do get sick and have health issues because they do deserve it, because they're putting shit in their mouth and they're smoking, they're drinking, whatever. So, I mean, one could argue those are levers you're pulling, you know, and I hate to say it, but there's some truth to that, right?
Well,
you're a fat ass. Sorry.
Here's the part, though. You just said they deserve it, right? We're saying that there's no such thing as deserving.
Right, right.
They're getting, if you eat your way to being pre-diabetic and type 2 diabetic, if you eat your way to that, you eat your way to high cholesterol, congestive heart failure, obesity, you're literally getting the result you worked for.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, got it. Now there are outliers. There are marathon runners in extremely great shape that have heart attacks and they die during training. Mm-hmm. But let's be realistic. The human heart is not designed to run 40, 80, 100, 200 miles a week. Right? So if you push those limits of training and something happens, then boom, that's the end result to the work you put in. It's not the desired result, but it is an end result, right? Just like if we look at mental health, like we're talking today. If you or I, because it's no secret, I've been completely open. There's multiple times. And if we rewind the clock back to, July 8th, July 9th, 2018, I was standing on a balcony on vacation in Florida, fourth floor.
Yep.
hotel right there, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Beautiful area. On vacation for my oldest daughter's birthday. And I was contemplating whether I was going to jump or not. The only reason I didn't is I looked back through the window and I saw my 2 kids sleeping. How can I be the one to ruin her birthday? Suffering in silence was less of a pain than knowing that I was going to end my life on her birthday and ruin the rest of her life and that day for her. So when we look at this, right, mental health is more important than anything out there, because a positive mental health, a foundational mental health, will drive you to physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, and material gain every single time.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Yeah, and like, so let's unpack that a little bit more. So like, what are we talking about here? Foundation, right? So going back to some of the coaching you and I've done and what I just had stated and yourself, like we had to rebuild our foundation, right? We're these big men of stature and whatever, but you could take us out at the knees pretty easy, right? And metaphorically. And that was a lot of the work that I had to do, and we did. And like some of these guys see, my early morning gym posts or some of these things I'm saying, and like, it's just what it is, like, because that's what's required to keep that foundation the way it needs to be. And I shared a story the other day about confidence. Somebody asked me, well, I want to unpack this with you today. Hey, how do I gain my confidence back? And it's something that I know we both talk on a lot. And it's like, well, in order to have confidence, you have to have some purpose in life, right? And that kind of goes hand in hand. And if you have purpose, so the story I shared, so like, why did I start coaching? And I don't even know what your story is of this, but one of the reasons why I started coaching is because I wanted to give value back to people. I went through a transition of life, and none of us has anything to do with real estate, actually. It's all mindset. And most of the calls that I'm having, probably like you, are mindset based, not even so much sales. And, re-understanding the sense of purpose and goals and a plan of action and so on and so forth to start working towards something, whether it's to be a better father or to be successful at the gym or successful in real estate, whatever. And as you do that with a plan, you gain confidence, right? So like for me, I felt I lacked value in certain things. So I wanted to give value to get value and to be able to pour on other people because I was hurting. And as I did that, I went through that journey. That kind of rebuilt my own confidence with purpose. So I didn't have purpose, right? I think you recognize that in me. Like I came down to Florida after having purpose. So I thought, and then I was lost, and, I had to rebuild that, which together, help build that confidence back. So, and, with that, when you go through these things, there's massive collateral damage as a result. You got to think, I just mentioned, if I could get the breakfast in, or the gym and breakfast, I was good. Well, guess what? I wasn't working much. So obviously there's collateral damages that relates to that. And that we can talk about that another day, but there was massive fallout from that. So what happens with that? Now you start building resilience because you don't have a choice. So all those things, and then you get into the stoicism and all that stuff. You get to a certain point, you go through enough shit and you have enough calluses, either you can let that consume you and you can drive around like I did and think about the next step or a balcony jump or whatever, or you can control, you can harness that to whatever you need to harness it towards and keep plugging along one step in front of the other every day, right? And I know firsthand working with my wife and I, we've had to do that. And, that's my perspective. I'm not sure what your take is, but I'd love to hear it.
So let's not blend the two, purpose and confidence, right? So if you live your purpose, yes, you'll build confidence. 100% true fact. But go back to purpose, right? There's two things that kind of make up purpose. Who are you? What are your fundamental ethics, morals, and values? What are they?
Right.
Because there's things that I hold near and dear to my heart and my life that in your life may just be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's no big deal. But then there's things that you value in your life that you would die for. And I'm just like, it's just another thing.
Right.
So every person's set of morals, values, and ethics is different, and there are similarities, absolutely, right? Like we don't believe in murder and robbery and things like that. Those go against our core beliefs. But there's other things like as simple as, do you let people come in your house and wear their shoes?
Right.
Versus take your shoes off at the door. These are small things that may matter to you, but don't matter to me, or vice versa. So who are you? What are your core morals, values, and ethics? Write them down, because all those are going to create the standards in which you live your life by, but also the standards in which you hold people in your life too.
Yep.
Once you have that figured out, now you can figure out what is your purpose. Purpose comes down to this. What is it that you're so adamant and so driven to do that you'll lose sleep, you'll miss meals, you'll give up time, you're willing to die to ensure that this happens? That's your purpose, right? So, it's no secret. Josh and I are, the Holyfield brand is still in its infancy. We're only in year 3. We have sat at the top of the mountain, one of the fastest growing 6-7 figure businesses in the fitness industry in our first year.
Yep.
And then we sat at the bottom of the mountain and ate crumbs with bums for months on end.
Yep.
But every day we wake up and live our purpose. And guess what our purpose is? To serve and provide value. Yep. Absolutely. I've trained, you personally know this, I have trained people that have refused to pay. And I show up every damn day. Hey, bro, let's train. Hey, you going to pay? Yeah, man, I'll get you next week. Okay, hey, look, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's train. Because money is great and money's a necessity, to facilitate a lifestyle, yes. But at the end of the day, when I lay my head down on the pillow, I know I provided value and I live my purpose from the time I open my eyes to the time I close them.
Yep.
So transition over to confidence. Confidence is very, very easy to understand how to build it. Confidence is built off a track record of success. Think about the sport of baseball, right? When we'll take a pro player. So 300 average in baseball for a season is phenomenal. So This is a man who is only successful 30% of the time. Think about that. Could you imagine if you only sold 30% of the houses you tried to?
Yeah, wouldn't go well. Right.
We would not be on this call right now. Right. So take baseball. 30% of the time he is successful. Well, how many times did he get into a slump? He went 2-3 games without hitting the ball. A slump is nothing more than loss of confidence.
Sure. Yep.
Right. And I know you've seen it, and I've worked with realtors in the past. They go 2-3 weeks, 10, 12, 15 showings, don't sell a single house. That confidence starts dropping. Yep. They start questioning the process, the system. They start questioning themselves. Self-doubt creeps in and eradicates them.
Yep. Yeah, I made a post this morning about being in limbo. Kind of the same thing, like waiting on things, waiting for the next step, and like you obsess on those things and you lose momentum, which in turn can do the same, and I think I think it all comes down to reps, right? So like in my world, so like versus yours. So like, let's relate to the coaching. Like you help 10 men, 100 men, 1,000 men, and you have success stories from each of them. Obviously you're going to gain confidence in the fact that you're making boys into men in a sense, right? Or they're losing weight, or their mental health is improving. On my side, if we're just talking about selling houses, obviously the more houses you sell, obviously you realize, hey, you probably are doing good at this, right? And you gain confidence. So it all comes down to reps. So but I think what happens when you get in this funk is you stop doing the work and stop pushing through the work, Interesting thing. You called me out the other day when I was doing, obviously, I've had a shoulder injury and I've been nursing it forever and kind of being a bitch about it, actually. And as a positive is I've worked my shoulders and they're really strong now. So like I put up 80 pounds and I think like, hey, like you're going really fast. Like obviously you can do some more work. And the reality is yes, but I wasn't pushing myself. I was scared or nervous that I was going to injure myself again, which lack confidence in your body to know right? And that example to be able to push through the work. And then I did mind over matter per se, push through the work, and did hundreds. And obviously now we can improve from there. And I didn't hurt my shoulder. Like, wow, it didn't even hurt at all. So, so like those little things. But I think what happens is we all get in these funks and you stop doing the work, whatever it may be, and I think you got to keep plugging along and just push through the suck. It's not going to be in business anyways. I used to say, like, every day is a kick in the balls. It just depends how you deal with it, basically. Just like you said, you've had highs of highs, slumps, eating, crumbs of bombs, but the purpose or the goal is the same, and you got to just keep plugging along, and eventually that big wheel gets spinning, and it's an unstoppable force, right? So I think the message with that is just being consistent, whether it sucks or it's great. That's my perspective on that, for sure.
No, you nailed it on the head, right? And let's go, right? Something that you and I can agree on, and we both done is, you've made cold calls, you've made, warm calls, hot calls, things like that, sales calls pretty much for housings.
Yep.
I was an Army recruiter for 3 years, so I had to sell the Army, right? Be on the phone. Here's the crazy part, right? Is that you've probably seen it with yourself and with agents is as the call goes on, you can either watch their confidence spike or you can watch it drop, right? So what does that mean? You talk about being in the rep. Every rep matters. You have to be proficient, efficient, and effective with every single call, regardless of what your sales is sales. You're either going to build rapport and they're going to buy a product because they love you, or you're going to hit a pain point and it's going to be so traumatic for them that they have to buy what you're selling, or they're going to have to live that life, right? Like if we transition and talk about sales, but we're going to stay in our AO today in our environment. Every rep matters, but here's the problem. Repetition and practice does not make perfect.
Yeah.
It's permanent. So if you practice fucked up and you practice the wrong technique, you're going to play with the wrong technique.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Like you said, people panic and they stop doing the basic things. And what do? They go have this meeting. Everybody has a good idea. Well, if we do this, and they try to bring in some advanced level technique. Well, just like your mental health, just like your marriage, your finances, you cannot be advanced unless you've mastered the basics.
Yep.
Right?
For sure. Yeah.
Like you can't have a great marriage without communication. Everybody would agree with that.
Yep.
Well, that's only 50% of the battle. The foundation to a great marriage is the communication, but the part that people don't realize is the comprehension piece. I can talk to you or you can talk to Miss Smith all day, but if she doesn't understand and comprehend what you're saying, you're not having communication.
Yep.
It's empty words and noise.
You're talking to somebody, right?
Yeah. You're talking at her instead of to her if she doesn't comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
So how we practice, how we train, how we execute is just as important as the end result. So I'll share two things with you. One of these books has really, really changed my life here recently. Tim Grover. You familiar with him?
Oh, yeah.
Right. He coached Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, D. Wade, all these guys. So Relentless was a great book. And in that book, we learned about coolers, cleaners, and closers.
Yep.
And the cleaner mentality, right? Yeah. So I just finished Winning. And there's two things he said in there that I wanted to share today for mental health. Winning knows your secrets. So think about it. Go back to younger Jason Smith.
Yep.
Yeah, brother, you're a good-looking dude. You're tall. You take up space. You're very present. You dress nice. You speak very, very educated, very well. You can also have a silver tongue and talk people into doing whatever you want them to. Great. But here's the problem, right? Is when you do that, Winning knows your secrets. You won for a period of time until you got to Florida and all your secrets were exposed.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The next part that goes exactly with what we're talking about right now is people fall under this facade. Life is a marathon. Selling houses is a marathon. Fitness is a marathon. That briefs well for people that don't want to show up and execute. Winning is not a marathon. Winning is a sprint with no finish line.
Yeah, the practice is the marathon. Is that?
No, there is no marathon at all.
Right. Just go hard every day. Every day is a sprint. Just every day hard, every day hard, every day hard. Right.
It's as hard as you can go.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it goes like to my 100 days, 100K thing, 100 days, 100 primary actions, like just consistency and just the compound effect of that and putting the reps in, right? So like whether you're going to the gym or like we talked about. So no matter what it is, it's just doing the work every day, right?
And that's the piece is doing that, but you have to have a strong foundational mindset because guess what? Success hurts. Success is tiring. Success is boring, right? Monotony and routine, mundane actions are the key to continual success.
Yeah.
We've all been successful one time, but how many times can you replicate that one time? 100 times?
Right.
1,000 times?
Yeah, I mean, like, discipline is the things that you need to do that you necessarily don't want to do, but that's required and you just have to do it because that's the work that needs to be put in. So, I mean, it's every day when my alarm goes off at 3 a.m. There's mornings like, fuck. Last night, this morning, I didn't get to bed until like 11 o'clock last night. I had to be up at 3. I was going to the gym, period. That's what's required, right? And 3 o'clock, got up. Probably see my face. I'm exhausted today, but you got to get to sleep. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of needing sleep, but but obviously I needed to get up and get the work done. So we did that, and I think that's where the foundation's built through that resilience, through the callous, through doing the things that are just required to do, and most people just aren't willing to do what's required, whatever it may be. And I think that's the message there.
So what it all comes down to is which pain is greater, right? The running mantra right now in real estate and in the world is choose your hard, right? Well, here's the thing. Why would I want to choose something hard? I want to choose something that's guaranteed to work.
Right.
What does that mean? The only thing in my life that is guaranteed to work is me.
Right. Yeah.
There's no relationship that's guaranteed. There's no job. There's no insurance. The only two things I'm guaranteed is at some point I will die. And unless I want to spend time in prison, I have to pay taxes. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So the only thing guaranteed to work in my life is me.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So what I'll tell you is this, people say, choose your hard. That's great for selling t-shirts. It's great. A lot of business owners in this space, they say that choose your hard, right? Even the gym I go to, Greg Collier, great guy. He has a huge slogan that says, working out is hard. Being fat is hard. Choose your hard. Well, here's what I'll ask you. Choose your hard is great, but which pain is greater? Is the pain of being miserable, depressed, full of anxiety, upset, and distraught and disgusted with what you see when you look in the mirror, what you feel when you think about yourself? Is that pain greater than the pain of putting in the work, building the process and the procedures and the programming to every day yield success of some type in your different arenas of life?
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other back half of that is going to destroy your mindset every day is if you believe balance is key.
Yeah. Balance is bullshit.
There's no such thing as balance, right? Because balance would mean that everything is equal. I hate to break it to you, but in every situation and scenario of life, minus a sport that has a tie or draw, there is no equality. There's one person that's winning and one person that's losing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what's that?
I said, but that winner and loser is right here.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think one of the lessons I got from you was, and I think, and this speaks for everybody. Are you confident with what you look like when you wake up and look in the mirror every morning? Naked. All exposed. Yeah. Are you confident with that? Are you happy with that? And I think, as stupid as that sounds, it's that simple. It's like, are you happy with yourself? And most people are lying to themselves. They're not. There's no fucking way. And that's an infinite game. It doesn't ever end. Like your health and your marriage is an infinite game. Like it doesn't stop, right? Making whatever it may be. Like my gym partner is 60, phenomenal shape. Well, guess what? He's been doing that for years. He didn't just wake up that way, right? He's putting the work in because when he's 80, he wants to be a healthy dude. So, like from my experience, and I think I know from your experience, any of my coaching clients I'm talking to, when there's challenges with the mindset, there's usually a disconnect with how they feel about themselves when they look in the mirror. And it seems like it's that simple.
Let's be honest. The main reason everybody works out is to look good naked.
Yeah.
Cut all the brass tacks, bathing suits, bikinis, wedding dresses, events. At the end of the day, in the beginning of the morning, when you're standing there in that mirror, in the bathroom by yourself, fully exposed.
Yep.
Are you satisfied? And are you confident in what you see? If not, you have work to do. And here's the problem, right? And this is probably going to get us canceled. Ready? Cancel culture. So everybody listening, make sure you record what we already said because it's going to get us canceled.
Yep.
Body positivity is weak-minded bullshit.
Victim culture. Yeah.
Because guess what? Lizzo is the driving force behind this. Let me ask y'all a question. Run her labs. Let's look at her labs. Let's see what the inside engine looks like. Right? And this isn't a shot at people that are obese. I have plenty of friends that are obese. If they ask for my help, they're going to get full coaching.
Yep.
And if they don't ask for my help, I'm not going to say a fucking word.
Right.
It's not my life. But what I'm going to tell you is if you're succumbing to this body positivity, oh, it's okay to be obese bullshit, you're looking for an easy way out in an early grave. That's what it comes down to. You're scared to put the work in because you're insecure. Well, if I go to the gym, they're going to judge me. Guess what? They're judging you because you don't go. Oh, guess what? 90% of judgment, unless they say it to your face, 90% of you being judged is you making it up in your mind and putting it into somebody else's body. They don't, I hate to break it to you guys, two things. One, nobody's going to come save you. And two, honestly, nobody gives a shit about you.
Nope.
Like if we got to be real, right now, this is where my purpose and passion comes out. I'm getting amped up.
Here we go. Let's go.
Because if they gave a shit about you when you went to the store and bought fucking oatmeal cream pies, they would slap that shit out of your hand.
Yeah.
If you go home and you tell your spouse, hey, I am not happy with the way I look, I'm not happy with this or that, and they bring you fucking Burger King, they're just as big a problem as you are. Yeah. They're lying to your face. I love you. You don't.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. My perspective on seeing people at the gym. For one, if you're at the gym and you're 400 pounds, you're at the fucking gym. So, hey, kudos to you, right? I don't know if you've ever seen like the meme, whatever, about, hey, you break down on the side of the road, you're driving, right? And you ask for help, you're flagging people down, nobody will stop. But if you start trying to push yourself, people will come and help you because you're trying to help yourself. So like I look at that the same thing. And obviously everybody that's listening to this, there's a massive connection between your health and fitness at the gym and your mental health, right? So if you're at the gym and somebody needs help and they ask, right, I'm going to help them. I mean, I just walk up to them and help them because it's none of my business. But if somebody's trying to help themselves and want help, I'm going to help them. Here's the thing, guys. There's a million of us out there that are willing to do that. You just got to fucking ask. But you got to be willing to help yourself first, right? If you're not willing to shed your ego and all the bullshit and get your ass to the gym or whatever it is to do to put the work in, like you said, nobody's going to save you. It's just not going to happen. So It goes back to the deserving thing.
So it's funny you say that. My two favorite people in the gym, guess what? It's not the young lady in the tight shorts and sports bra. She's probably got issues looking for validation and attention. Not my business. It's not the jack dude with half a body, big biceps, no legs. with no shirt on, not that guy.
Yeah.
My two favorite people in the gym. One is anybody who is obese or morbidly obese, and they come in and they put the hoodie on with the big headphones and they have sweats on and they're on the elliptical, sweating to death, and they're going as hard as they can. I love that man and woman because here's why. Do you know how much fucking courage and intestinal fortitude it took for them to walk into a gym where they know people are going to look at them and formulate fucking opinions, and they did it anyways?
Yep. Yeah, and then you got the men or women that are 30 pounds overweight and won't go to the gym because they're fucking worried about what people think. People don't give a fuck.
I love the larger person that's over there. I love seeing people that come in brand new. They have no idea what they're doing. They're 30, 40 years old.
Yep.
And they'll come in and you'll see them. They're intimidated by people pushing big weights. They're intimidated by people that are sweating and super intense. But they sit down, they read the machine. You'll watch them. They'll read the machine, how to do it.
Yeah.
They'll try it with super lightweight. I like to walk by and say, hey, you're doing a great job. And they're like, thanks. I'm like, do you ever need any help? I'm here. You see that big jack guy over there? His name's Lyndon. He looks angry, but he's the nicest guy you'll meet. Ask us questions.
Sure.
Ask us any question you got. We'll help you. And I always end with this. All right, I'm going to see you tomorrow, right?
Yep.
My second favorite person is anybody over the age of like 55.
Yep.
Regardless of how many machines they take up at one time, or they take all the dumbbells, or they bring in a whole beach towel to cover up all the equipment. Because those are life goals, to be 50, 60, 65 years old, still have the desire and drive to wake up, drive to the gym. And let's be honest, most of the time they're doing 5, 10 pounds, or one of my good buddies, he's got to be in his 70s, older gentleman. He only does ab crunches and hanging knee raises from the Roman chair. All he does every day, hundreds of reps.
Yep.
But he walks by, he fist bumps me, hits his heart, and says, I'll see you tomorrow. Love the guy to death.
Yep.
Like, it would crush me if anything happened to that guy. Don't know his name. And outside of good morning, sir, how are you? How are you doing? How's your family? Never spoke a word, but every day it's the same dialogue, fist bump, chest pound.
Yep.
And he does his ab crunches every day.
Yeah.
Those two people right there, right? Think about what it takes to be morbidly obese and wake up and put on clothes that are 2-3 times too big because you're trying to hide in a public environment.
Yeah.
How much fucking intestinal fortitude does it take? But yeah, we got people that are 5, 10, 15 pounds overweight, out of shape. They want to sit here and tell their kids how to live their life and how to push through obstacles, and you're going to go to school and work hard, but yet you can't get your ass out of bed and hold yourself accountable. You don't have integrity to do the shit you say you're going to do. That's why your mental health is failing, because you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror knowing you lied to yourself from the time you woke up and you went to sleep. And if I'm hurting your feelings right now, good, because you're that person. You need this. I'm going to tell you what you need, not what you want to hear. Because you've already put the people in your life that tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Right? For all the men in here, how many men that are watching this now or later, you ain't got to comment. I don't want you to get a black eye. If your spouse comes out and says, does this shirt make me look fat? Are you going to stand in a place of integrity, or are you going to be a coward?
We call that the FAF life. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yep.
Does this shirt make me look fat? One question can derail your whole day.
Yep. I think we know how most people would answer that, and they would lie.
Absolutely.
And, that's an interesting point. Obviously, as you know, you've coached my wife and I, and we've had to go through not those conversations necessarily, but conversations that are very intimate type conversations about one another. And quite frankly, you're avoiding that shit. I think most marriages do. You're not even having those conversations. And if you're standing in your masculine power and your wife is, with hers, you should be able to have those tough conversations and, work through things and set standards and expectations. And, nobody's a mind reader, and those are all things that help. Obviously, if you're single and you're going through some of these challenges, doesn't apply to you, but that's all part of the mental health, it's all part of the confidence and all these things that help to have a strong foundation. Well, if you got your wife, your spouse, or you got family chirping in their shit bags too, like, it ain't helping you. So like, if you can't stand up for yourself with integrity and draw some lines and whatever, you're just going to keep spinning your wheels too, you know? So, but here's the thing, guys, like, we ain't talked about anything profound here. There ain't nothing profound here. It's just getting up and doing the fucking work. That's it. That's it. And no excuses, no victim mentality, no bullshit. And, you know, as he just said, you know, there's guys that are morbidly obese. There's 80-year-old guys going in there. There's people that I've seen, they're in a cast or their arms in a cast or whatever. They're still in the gym. They're working something or they're doing something, right? Because that's what was required. And, I mean, that's it. That's it. And we've all that have gone through some of this shit have just blamed it on somebody else. I lost probably 200 grand in this last 18 months. Ain't nobody ever heard anything about that other than right now. Ain't nobody gonna see anything about it. Nobody's gonna see me bitch about it, complain about it. It fucking sucks. But guess what? That's fucking life. Move on, so, one step in front of the other.
Let's put this out there. Hey guys, I know we talk a lot about the gym and fitness, right? Listen, going out and walking 10, 15 minutes a day, getting 10, 15,000 steps. You don't have to go to a gym to improve your physical fitness. Okay. So don't think that we're out here just trying to build meatheads all day. All right. And the tie to this, and this is one of the key pieces we didn't hit yet, is endorphins and dopamine. Lifting weights creates positive endorphins. You feel good. You feel better, right? You get the release and you get results. The reason a lot of people's mental health is suffering right now is because they're looking for that free dopamine, that instant hit of dopamine from social media. You see something and you're like, boom, you feel great, fantastic. Here's the problem. The very next post is one of your friends from high school who is out in the Caribbean on a 7-day expense paid trip. And you're stuck in Syracuse, New York in 4 foot of snow, making $25 an hour, right? There goes your dopamine. Here comes your depression. Quit looking for quick and free dopamine. Create positive endorphins through the actions you take in your life.
Yeah, you know, I joke that the gym's my psych ward, and it really is. And I know I speak for many guys and women, you know, that say that, and that's what it is. And anytime, you know, because we all get fucked up and miss days or whatever, you know what I mean? Obviously, that stuff happens. Anytime that happens, that stuff gets fucked up. And that's where it all begins. It's just where the foundation lies, and it starts at the bottom, right? And but I promise you guys, so like, not to get in left field here, but when you're confident in front of the mirror and you're doing the work and you're seeing transformation and you got the endorphins and the dopamine running, think about what the impact of that is on everybody else in your world. You know, if you have kids, you know, you're showing some leadership from that perspective, your wife, spouse, whatever. And just think about how that positively impacts in the sense of vibrancy that you get as a result from that. The energy in your home gets better. The intimacy in your marriage gets better. All these things happen from just that basic fundamental thing. Now, I understand that we're not waving a magic wand and that's the end all cure all, right? But that's where it starts, right? And I can tell you for a fact that it works. It's positive. So, you know, we can talk a ton on this, but I want to dig in. Obviously, we have Memorial Day coming up. I know this is something that is important to me. I know it's certainly important to James. Those of you that don't know, but I had the pleasure of working with many men in uniform in Fort Drum, New York, 10th Mountain Division, and I've certainly seen, worked with many men and women, and also seen some of the fallout from mental health. And I know that's something that is important to you, James, and I know we want to talk a little bit about that as we approach the holiday weekend. You know, with what we're talking about and with that, like, my wife had no idea I was going through what I was going through. None of my family did at all. And I want everybody to know that we all have somebody that you can talk to. There's always somebody that is there that's going to see you, right? And that's something from going through my experiences when I see somebody, and I don't know if you do as well, James, but I almost have like an optics for it now. And I have gone through all my shit. I can spot people that are hurting. It's really weird. I don't know. And I reach out to them. Hey, how you doing, man? Just, hey, I see you, whatever, If you see something, say something. If you're going through something, there's people to help you, whether it's professionally or just, maybe you just need an attaboy. I mean, there's messages out there that by putting something out there, like this is something I know you shared, James, when I made my post. He's like, hey, there's 1 million people that read that you'll never know, and you helped them out. And I want everybody to understand the importance of having a voice and being of value and being somebody there that can, be a phone call away or just a conversation, a cup of coffee, whatever. And that's something that's important, not just for our men and women in uniform, but anybody for that matter. So, yeah.
So the only thing I'll add to that, because honestly, with Memorial Day coming up, with our fire team guys, we're going to do the Murph on Saturday.
Yeah.
In honor of those guys. So mental headspace, I'm really not talking about it until Saturday doing anything. But the one thing I'll tell you guys is this, from being in that position, and I hate to say it, but losing 11 of my brothers and sisters to suicide that were in uniform with me. I served and personally knew them and their families. What I'm going to tell you is this. If you see something, ask the question, right? I'm a firm believer in this. I would rather temporarily or permanently lose a friendship than to actually lose the human being. So I would rather say something. Hey, man, I notice this is going on, and I'd rather be wrong and then be upset at me or mad at me because I questioned what was going on versus not saying anything and never being able to ask that question again. And this doesn't just apply to people in uniform, right? Whether it's law enforcement, medical, military, this is every day in your life. If y'all look at the statistics, mid-20s to mid-30s, Caucasian males, highest leading suicidal rate. Think about the people that how many men fit in that category, right? And how many of these men, if you look at their lives, how many of them have successful jobs? How many of them have marriages and kids? And they're out there coaching their kids T-ball on Tuesday, and then they're gone on Thursday. Pay attention to the men and women in your lives. Women's suicide rates is going up as well. But like I said, it's better to temporarily lose a friendship than it is to permanently lose that friend.
Yeah, that's a fact. And obviously, as we know, with men, we talked about vulnerability and it's synonymous with weakness. And that's a lot of times why people don't speak up. And I think more for men, I don't want to discount any women that struggle with this too, but we're not supposed to be weak. We're not supposed to be, society's, I hate to say it, it's fucking changing, but overall, at least my generation, and I know yours, James, like, you suck it up, you just push through. And yeah, obviously that's the idea, right? But, if something's going on, you got to speak up.
Well, we got to switch that.
Weak about that.
Right, we got to switch that. If you're suffering from mental illness, you're suicidal, have suicidal ideations, you're not being vulnerable by telling people that. Yeah. You're having integrity. You're standing in a place of ownership, like, hey, something's not right. This is what's going on. I need help, right? That's integrity. That's ownership. That's not vulnerability. Because here's the thing. If you have a heart attack, you're going to go to the hospital, right?
Right. Yeah.
What's the difference? Your brain had a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
It had a brain attack, right?
Yeah.
Mental health attack. There's no difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree full well with that. You just gotta ask for help. That's it. Whatever it is. And that you say, whether you're sick with something or alcoholism, drug addictions, things like that. You can't cure yourself if you don't admit that you need help and willing to ask, and I encourage, obviously, anybody watching this or will watch this to just simply do that. And that's really courageous, not, like you say, vulnerable. So, and then as you said, James, just to reiterate, you see somebody off, you got a buddy that seems something's up. We all see it. We all see social media posts. They start getting wonky. You know, they're subliminally crying for help or whatever. Like you say, I'd rather lose a friendship or call somebody out or whatever, you know, than to wake up one day and read their obituary, you know? So, yeah, I think we're all on this planet to recognize that stuff. I think that stuff's important. And I know from my perspective, going through some of the challenges, I know you, for sure you, and, you know, that's what we're here. That's what we're here to do, and to give value to people that need it. So, guys, man, this was great. I really appreciate it. Obviously, we've unpacked quite a bit today. Talked about how to live a purpose and confidence, and we certainly talked about the foundation of, you know, holistic growth at the gym and mental health and asking for help and things of this stuff. But both James and I are always going to be an advocate if anybody has any questions. If somebody's struggling with how to, you know, rebuild their confidence or understanding their purpose. Some people just don't get it, you know, and that's okay. Ask, you know. You know, James has got a great program through the Iron Forge, you know, to really, you know, it's funny actually, not to get off left field and we'll wrap it up here soon, but now my little guy acting like a crazy man behind me. It was interesting. Like, I thought I was coaching you about how to go to the gym and work out and eat right. And all of a sudden we just started like therapy. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? You know? So like, find yourself a coach that is going to help unpack all that stuff. And it's really going to be somebody that's going to have those challenging questions and peel the layers back and get you to self-discover. And James is certainly that guy for me and my wife and many, many, many other men and women. So, you know, if he can be of value to you, certainly reach out to those guys. And we're here of value. So, James, I really appreciate you taking the time today. This is really important to me to unpack this today, especially just the timing of it. And with Memorial Day coming up, you know, so again, any more to add to that?
Hey, last thing, first off, it's always my honor, you know, to be invited into this space by you in your business. What I will give you guys advice on are the 4 P's of coaching. Before you hire a coach, make sure they cover these 4 P's. They are personable, they are persistent, they are professional, and they are patient. If they have those 4 things with your situation, they're the coach for you. The very first one is personable, making sure that there's good rapport and you connect. Because here's the thing, you'll hear me say it if you watch any of my content, you're not special, you're not unique, but understanding who you are, the challenges you came from, allows us to align the coaching with where we want to go. So those 4 P's before you hire any coach in any arena, to ensure that you're going to get the most value for your dollar, but also you're going to walk away with lifetime skills.
Love it, man. All right, well, I appreciate everybody viewing today, and anybody that missed it, anybody that registered, this will be on demand, available to watch at a later date, and we'll get the replay out there as well. So again, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. James, again, always a pleasure. And for those of you have a good holiday this weekend, and obviously think of those that we've lost over time here, and have a good time with their families. So your family, excuse me. So you too, James. We'll
have a good one, man.
Hey, brother. All right, dude.
All right.
Thanks again.